It's like in Leicester, we care about lyrics and we're specialists. This is a joke, like, because on the bottom of the email, he even had like Drake's manager's name. Man can't even stand up. This is peak. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that was like the brush with death. There's still that element of racism in the music industry.
Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell to receive the notifications. My guest today is an artist who's been recording and releasing videos and music consistently for almost a decade now. He's had his work featured on Netflix shows and is one of today's rare artists who delivers constant, deep, meaningful messages. I'd like to welcome to the 521 Sofa Chat all the way from Leicester, the very gifted Lloyd Luther.
Yo, what
Bro,
you saying?
good to have you here. Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Yeah, man, it's blessed. It's
Wicked.
blessed.
So I understand that you actually were born in Streatham.
Yeah, I was born in Streatham, yeah.
So what took you all the way to, Leicester?
That's a long story, yeah. Kind of had an issue within my family, which forced my mom to kind of move to a women's refuge and then move up to Leicester. So we was kind of forced to make that choice, innit?
Okay,
And,
well, it doesn't sound like it was a choice.
Yeah, it wasn't a choice, I don't think. It wasn't a choice. It was, at that point in time, I think we had to, because of the severity of the situation.
Okay.
Like, so, yeah, we had to, that's how we moved to Leicester. And I think I was about 8. And yeah, the women's refuge was in Chelsea, and then we went to Leicester, innit?
Hearing the kind of lyrics that you're dropping all the time, do you feel like the beginnings there had something to do with the way you express yourself? And
definitely, because I've seen a lot of things when I was younger that you probably shouldn't see, in terms of like things that, like, you know what I'm saying, that family members might have been involved in, and so on and so forth. But it, and even after that, within my own life growing up. But I think I always get my lyrics from what I see.
have you written any tracks that kind of describe all that stuff about moving from Streatham and why? And is this something that you're going to tackle, or is this something you'd rather leave untouched?
With that, I've already finished 2 other projects, and that's where they're going, innit?
Okay.
It's kind of explaining that whole situation in depth. There is one track called M1 to Leicester,
Okay.
which is about that kind of thing, and you'll probably hear about that next year. And that's kind of an emotional track where it's about the night that we moved, that we went, and how we had to move, and then the thoughts that was going through my head.
So do you remember all of that clearly?
Yeah, you remember, and that's the thing. Like, as a kid, I think when you go through certain traumatic moments, you remember vividly what they are, and I think it's even if like they're really happy moments or really tragic moments, you remember them very vividly as a kid. So I think when I was writing that, I have memories of what actually happened in it, and yeah, it was a hard track to write because you have to go back to that place and pull out those emotions in it. So it's like, I feel like that whole situation, my mom has done a lot for me. Like, she's done a lot, and even if like she was to stop there from the time I was 8, 9 and just left, I would even think from then, like, yeah, she's done a lot, because it was the choices that she had to make, why she did certain things. And I understand it, and I get it. And it kind of, I feel like she gave up her dreams for us, for me and my brother. So it's deep, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to address that actually, because obviously I've been listening to your lyrics in depth recently, and I'm picking up like a lot of respect for your mom. At the same time, it seems like whatever you're trying to achieve, you've always got your mom in the back of your mind that you're trying to succeed for her.
Definitely. And I think it's, for the most part, most of my family are like that. They're very supportive. They're very, like, you know what I'm saying?
You want to swap families?
I mean, you can. Nah, I think like, I think my family are really supportive, and my mom's always been supportive, and she's always tried to steer me away from the crap to music, innit? And I think that helped.
did any of what you experienced in Streatham end up in your music, or was it just strictly Leicester?
What I experienced in Streatham was, it was kind of like you see things but you don't understand why. Like, for instance, even I think one good example of that is when I was in the refuge, there was nights where we had to be sent upstairs to the top floor to kind of, because the guys would come to, you know, of some of the women in there, the guys would come and find where the women are and start breaking in the place, innit, to try and do some things, innit. And then flipping, we'd get sent up there. And I just remember the police being there and the flashing lights. But all the kids, we thought it was a joke. We was just like, oh yeah, we're going upstairs. They made it fun for us, innit? But when you have that imagery, it stays with you. It's like certain things that happened around Streatham. Like, you'll see things like when police turn up and you're like, oh, so that's a situation. You don't know what's quite happened, but you visualize it as a kid. And it's like, it stays with you. Like, you remember the really happy moments and then the really sad moments. And those, I do feel like in London and then in the later part of my teens and early 20s, that's when my life was traumatic.
Okay.
And I think in between that, my life was kind of more relaxed, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think when I first got to Leicester, it was relaxed, and then it went a bit dodgy still.
You wanted to be a cartoonist at one point.
I feel like I loved drawing, and I had an imagination to draw, and I kind of thought, you know, yeah, I had an imagination to draw, and I didn't ever think of rapping like that, but I did always love music. But yeah, I looked at stuff like, you know, Wallace and Gromit and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I wanted to do stuff like that. But I think as a kid, you want to do loads of stuff. You might want to be an astronaut. And I think a cartoonist was just one of those things where my imagination could just breathe in it.
Okay.
And I think, yeah.
But now you've been there sort of 20 years later. Like you said, you know, you could have been a cartoonist.
Yeah,
you could have
yeah,
imagined
yeah.
to be anything you wanted to be.
Yeah.
So imagine you're not a rapper now or a producer. What would you be?
Ooh, that's a hard question still. I think probably maybe doing something in cartoons, or maybe a footballer, or maybe like, because I really liked football.
Okay.
And I still like football, but if I was as into football as I was into rap, I think I could have. I think you really need to love something to make sure, because I think there was guys that loved football and they've gone on to do football, but they loved it the same way that I loved rapping it. So I think you have to. I just didn't have the passion for football.
But I noticed you mentioned Jamie Vardy in one of your tracks as well.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
No, I don't know him, but I
okay.
just like, you know what I like about Jamie Vardy? I like the story.
Okay.
I like the fact that like he was playing lower leagues and then just got the boost up to the Premier League, and then it's just mad.
Bro, I tell you what, when they won, that was just like no one expected that. It was just weird.
Bro, Leicester was like carnival. I don't know. It's like the world won something. Like it was mad. It was mad.
And you witnessed it firsthand.
Yeah, first time I was outside the stadium, fam, because I was just like, I don't even support Leicester. I support Arsenal, innit? But which is like a bad thing to say now, but still. But yeah, Leicester.
Which is why I'm staying quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, Leicester was. Yeah, I was outside the stadium. Mad, just mad. Never seen anything like it.
What about the guy that recently, in the last couple of years, died in the helicopter crash? Because he was a big role in that.
I think he turned the club around. I think that's what, like, him as the chairman was like, just he gave the club hope, I think, that it didn't have.
But do you think that hope extended to Leicester rather than just football in Leicester?
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good point, because I feel like musically, it everything benefited from that win, because I feel like it put like a focus on Leicester that wasn't on Leicester before, and I think from that a lot of people have maybe felt more hope, maybe felt like they could do more stuff. That's why I like Vardy's story, because it shows that you can come from nothing and make something, and even at the age he was, because you know in football, like they say, well, you're past this age, you're done. Like he was at an age where people might have said that, but then still made it to them big stages, and it kind of like it It puts hope in people, and I think Leicester benefited from that, not just musically as well, just everything.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we were touring back in the days, and you know, Leicester was one of those places that was really memorable for me. For all the wrong reasons. But, you know, basically, I've already said this story on another interview where I said about the coaches getting rushed by some gangs out there. And it was entertaining. It was something that we took back and we remember. But the point was that when we were there, we saw that there was a scene, but we weren't hearing about this scene outside of there. So it was very insular. Right?
Definitely.
But then all of a sudden, it's like we said, because of what happened to Leicester as a football club, it put Leicester on the map in a way. And suddenly we're starting to hear loads of artists from Leicester.
It put a focus on it. And a lot of people now, when they hear Leicester, they're like, oh, the ones who won the league still. So,
What's the scene like now? I mean, because I know there's a few artists out there that I think are dope. Like, I mean, if you're talking about production, we're talking about Wavy. Obviously.
Come on.
Sick. And if we're talking about, you know, vocalists, rappers, MCs, whatever, the guys that I know, Strissy Strauss, Son, Ninja Bob, as a DJ as well and all that.
Stanza Devan, Presto, man, there's levels.
So how's the scene progressing now? And where do you fit in it?
I'm determined to show Leicester in the right light. Especially as a lyricist, I want to show it that over here we care about lyrics. Like in Leicester, we care about lyrics and we're specialists. And I think, you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's what I get from Leicester, especially in the hip hop scene and in other scenes. I get that Leicester are not playing with lyrics. And I think that's what I would say, innit?
I feel that the tide is turned and people want to hear lyricists just spitting.
Exactly. And I think I have done some songs where they are just, you know, your normal songs like verse, chorus, intro, whatever like that. But I feel like as an artist and as a lyricist, I really do feel you need to show that side. I lean more towards that, I think, because I can write the songs and I might write songs in the future, but I'm always going to have those tracks where I'm rapping like that because I like lyricism and like I like to listen to lyrics. And when I hear other lyricists and they're barring, that gets me excited. That gets me like, yo, that makes me want to write, innit? So I love the craft of it. So I'm always going to go and write, you know, something that might be 5 minutes long or 6 minutes. I'm always going to have those things in there. Because I love the different flows, the different cadences, I think there's an art to spitting that's kind of might have been forgotten and might be coming back now, innit? So I think that's why a lot of people are into maybe hearing a lot more lyricism as well as the songs, innit? They like the mix of it, and I think that's a good thing. Because I think there's a lot of lyricists in UK which are top worldwide.
Oh,
do you know what I'm saying? Like top worldwide, but it's just because the UK is such a small place. I don't know if it's that or I don't know if it's other things, but I just think the UK has a certain way of performing and carrying and executing that lyricism that nowhere else in the world has got it. I even think like, you look at the UK hip hop scene, the grime scene, the drill scene, there's pockets in there in each one of those scenes where the lyricism is challenging anyone worldwide.
Why do you think that is?
I just think the way we rap and the way we have a kind of sarcasm in our punchlines and the way that we flow can sometimes be very rigid but the way that we flow is very original. And I think even in UK hip hop, you can hear the rigidness and the originality of the way that we hit punchlines. And then it's like got this drizzle of like Caribbean maybe, or you know what I'm saying? And then this maybe Northern slang or London slang or anything like that. And I just don't think you get that worldwide in such a small country. I think we've got something really special here in terms of lyricism, innit? I think
but also the language, you know, like, you know, it's taken like, I mean, when I was growing up and people were saying dog and bone and it was like throwing, it's like, what? So they're throwing all of those little things in there and making it our own. And you know what I mean? And like you said, it's like everyone's creating their own languages. They're going along as well.
And
makes it interesting.
It's really interesting. Like you might hear someone from East London and then hear someone from Newcastle, or hear someone from Manny, hear someone from West London, and they sound different from the guys from East London. It's like there's such a like an eclectic kind of thing, and the lyricism is all like, especially with the guys who were focusing on the craft, the lyricism is always like it's levels above.
Back in the days, if I was living in New Cross and
Yeah.
someone from, I don't know, Brixton came into New Cross, I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
tell they weren't from New Cross.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
now with the internet and how everything has come so close together,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it has become insular a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, it has.
It's like someone can come in from Newcastle and I won't know they're not from New Cross. How have we managed to separate that when it comes to the music, to keep that
Yeah.
originality to certain areas?
That is a very, very good point. And I think it's another, the main point of that is money. Like, because I think they see a formula in the UK, and I think that is probably the only downfall of the UK. We see a formula and we rinse it until it's broken. So like, for instance, like, say, you know, if you look at all the scenes that we've had, jungle, garage, we get a sound and we tear it apart, and then it's finished. And then we move on to something else. There's not there's not everything at the same time, because I feel like, and I don't know if that's the labels, whether they filter stuff through and they're like, this is the sound for now and this is what's happening now, or whether it's a UK culture thing. But I think
Be honest, do you think it is the labels?
yeah, I do.
What's your take on
That's my personal opinion.
So what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's money. And I understand it. The thing is, if you want to make money, you want to make money in it, and that's cool. And I understand that's what labels are there for. It's a music business. They want to make money. But I think artistically, it's detrimental. So it makes everything, you know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of sounds that don't go out there. Like, if the focus is on grime, the focus will be only on grime. If the focus on UK hip hop, it'll be only on UK hip. And it's not, you know what I'm saying? But when I'm looking at people's playlists, they're playing all different types of people. But it's the way that what's pushed at that certain time will be the sound. And I understand that is what works, but it usually is what works with people who are not into the culture in the first place. So they're going for that thing. It's like they're not into the culture, so they're latching onto this sound because it's cool. It's a lifestyle.
I remember when Dizzy Rascal was making his appearance.
Yeah.
And Dizzy Rascal was being pushed constantly. And he's a wicked MC. I love Dizzy. Yeah. And he was one of the few guys I was checking back in the days where I was like, raw, it's different. And, you know what I mean? It was good. But at the same time, there were so many other MCs that were dope. But they weren't getting the same looking. And the vibe I was getting from the industry was that they're only allowing one black artist to get through.
Exactly.
Explain that.
It's a golden child thing. It's like golden child syndrome. Like, it's like if someone has like 5 kids, they'll pick one and they can only focus on that one, innit? That's the golden child. And I think that's what the UK is like. The UK, I don't know if the market's big enough, but I still think it is. I think the market is big enough, but I think it's just, if they let every artist who is popular or who is like, say, Dizzy, the whole charts would just be Kano, Dizzy. The whole chart. And is that a problem?
Okay, so let's look at football again. We mentioned football. I was saying to someone the other day, it was funny how 30 years ago I used to watch football, and it was all white players.
Yeah.
And then you got John Barnes came in and bananas were thrown with him. Yeah. And it was an issue.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's the same things happen with, like, you know, so move 30 years forward, and there's so many mixed race and black players on the pitches now.
100%.
And they're carrying the teams.
Yeah, they're carrying the teams.
They're carrying the teams.
I mean, obviously it's a mix, but it's like
there is. But I'm saying, so many of them, you rely on them.
Yeah.
So now,
considering they got racism before, isn't it?
Exactly. Right, and I mean, all you had to do was go back and watch that football match when they lost because of the penalties and what happened. That was horrible.
Bro, man had to leave the pub because it was like, this is dangerous for us.
Yeah.
Basically, because we're in a pub that's not predominantly black. So weird. And I think there's still that element of racism in the music industry. But I do think there is a higher knowledge now that a few of the youngsters are getting, where they kind of know the business and they kind of use the business to their advantage. I just hope that carries on and that spreads, rather than it just being maybe 1 or 2 artists.
Yeah.
The one thing that I would say is that the labels do adapt, and they adapt to make more money. And if that's at the detriment of like a young kid, it might be. it might be. So
Just
they
say it.
still have to watch. Yeah, they still have to watch out for that, innit?
Yeah.
Those kids still have to watch out for that. They
Yeah.
still have to watch out.
But I mean, ultimately, they're a business, so you can't
Yeah.
really blame them for going out there
Yeah,
to make
yeah,
money.
they're good. You got to go in there with the fact that them man want to make more money than you, innit?
Yeah. What would you do now if someone came along and offered you a scenario in that situation?
Okay, in that situation, I'd be like, what are the percentages? What are we talking here? Let's just get it on the table, innit? You show your cards, I'm gonna show my cards. The thing is, I understand if man are gonna put money into me, then they've got to take some of what comes out, innit? But I would have to be aware and have to trust that they would be able to take me to the next level. Yeah, and take me to the next level and be fair, innit?
Yeah.
And they're not just gonna give me some mash up percentage that I can't do nothing with. Because it's your legacy and your life that they're basically, especially if music is your life, that is, you're gonna have to, and it depends how long the contract is.
If that situation came up, first of all, do you think with you not having management or all
Yeah.
that situation would even come along? Or do you think they just want to deal with managers? And if it was a case as they wanted to deal with you directly, do you
Yeah.
think it's something you would understand to be able to deal with it on your own? Or do you think you'll end up getting butt fucked?
I would say, I would say that I would rather have a team. I think I would rather have a team because I think you need a lawyer and you need certain men who know, they know where the butt fuck is coming from. Basically, they'll be like, yo, bro, you don't want to do that because I know the law on that.
If I hear somebody's music, I can kind of hear almost what they listen to, what they grew up on, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now with you, I can't pinpoint it.
One thing that's come up a lot is the trip hop inspiration, and I just don't know why people don't like, because trip hop is British. That is a British thing, and it's so different. And I like the way I like how they make songs in it. And I've always I was always a very, I think it was maybe my brother because he had a very like eclectic thing. He used to listen to house and then listen to hardcore hip hop, and then you know what I'm saying. It would be very different. And then I had my mom who would listen to soul all the time. She might listen to Whitney Houston. She might, you know what I'm saying. So it's when you've got all of that around you, and then you throw reggae on the top and all of this stuff. You kind of like, when I started making music, I was coming from so many different angles. I was like, yo, but I like the way that this sounded in this song, and this sounded in this song, and this sounded in this song. So it was kind of like, yeah, I like to take risks because I like the way that I listen to tracks was, I would like listen to Eminem and then listen to Massive Attack and then maybe listen to Whitney Houston, then maybe listen to a disco track, then maybe listen to like some next ballad. Like that's how I listen to music. It's very, you know what I'm saying, my playlists are mash up. So if anyone was to listen to it, they'd probably get why my production goes that way, innit?
If I was listening to something that I felt my friends weren't going to be into,
Yeah,
I had to do it kind of secretly. Did you ever have to do that?
Yeah, definitely. Like some of the stuff I used to listen to, like I'm really into French house, like proper into French house, innit? And none of my mates were into that. They were into grime or American hip hop. Like they were just into that. Even when I was younger and I would show them certain tracks, they'd be like, yo, this is hard, but like, why are you listening to this? Like they wouldn't understand it, innit? And I think you've got to, that's when I think I realised I really love music, innit? And it's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna listen to a couple tracks. It's like, yo, I love the mechanics of how it works, innit? So I think that's what led me to wanting to do it, innit? It was the fact that I could listen to a Daft Punk track and appreciate the filter that they've used on it, and appreciate the fact that they've used the pushing and pulling effect on it, and how that sample has been cut up, and then listen to a hip hop track and how the cadence of the lyricism that's on it would match the drums, and how you see what I'm saying, and then listen to a reggae track and how the vocals and the rhythm puts you in a vibe and puts you in a hypnotic state. So I think I analyze music on a soulful and a mathematical level, innit? So I think that's why I listen to so many different things, because I can always find something great in there.
Okay. So do you feel like listening to those guys was your first influence to become a producer?
Yeah, definitely. Because I was just like, how do you get things to sound like that? That was always my question. Like even when I was listening to like Eminem Stan, I was like, this is crazy. How are you using scribbling in the background? I'd sit there and go mad. Like, I'd be like, how? How is this possible? Like, and I would always want to find out how they did that. Listening to Daft Punk and thinking like, yo, how did you get this sample to sound like this? It's all distorted and it's mashed up. Like, so how did you do that? And yeah, it's hearing like Busta Rhymes, like how are you syncopating on the lyrics like that? And how is this, how is this sample helping you do that? And where's that sample from? And like, yeah.
Obviously, you add grime, you add hip hop, and all of that.
Yeah.
But if there wasn't a peer pressure thing going on,
Yeah.
do you think you would have gone down the path of Daft Punk and Massive Attack and all that stuff?
What I like to create is worlds. So me spitting about standing outside of a takeaway in Leicester, like, and seeing crackheads pass doesn't really fit on a disco rhythm because it's not the world doesn't mesh.
Yeah.
Like where I might like something, but my lyrics need to match with it, and I can't change the way that I've lived in it, and the way that I've lived is the way that I've lived, and certain sounds are what I heard within that, so I can't put another sound with that and remix it because it won't feel right, I don't think, and I think that's why. It's like I like to make the atmosphere right as well.
When I listen to music, I kind of hear it as a social commentary. And somewhere along the line, I'm sure I picked up on something about you having a brush with death.
I've got like what you call IBD. It's irritable bowel disease, and you have two types. You have Crohn's and colitis in it, and like anyone who knows who has one of those illnesses, if you're not active with it and you don't know what you've got, it can take you off the planet, innit? And there's certain things that happen. So I didn't know, because I didn't know about those illnesses. I was just living my life. Man was getting skinnier, you know what I'm saying? People were like, yo, you're not looking right. And man got ulcers in the mouth and everything like that. And I was just like, I didn't know that I was getting iller. And then man started, like, I was messaging like one of my mates, Stanza, one night, and he was just like, you're on a madness, like, what's going on? And man just didn't move out of bed for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then when I got to hospital, they were like, yo, your bloods are mash up, because they were like, if it would have been 2 days still, and you'd have been finished, because you got to the that's the thing, that close, because you get to a point where like your blood is so in, because on top of that I had an infection in it, so yeah, so that was the brush with death, and it kind of, I was in hospital for like over a month recovering from that. I had blood transfusion after blood trans, because I'd mashed myself up so much because I didn't have the knowledge of what was going on, and then the doctors didn't diagnose me right. Went to the doctor, first time he was like, nah, it's fine, take this pill, you'll be fine. Went to the doctor next time, nah, it's fine, take this laxative, you'll be fine. And this went on for weeks, and as this is going on, man's getting iller and iller, and you know, as a man, you're just like, whatever, innit, it's cool, I'm fine, innit, I don't know what you're on about, I ain't losing weight, I'm cool, like, yeah, it's everything. So you're thinking, yo, I'm fine, man, I'm fine, I can handle it, whatever it is. Inside, I was thinking like, raw, this is peak. At one stage, I was like, man can't even stand up, this is peak. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that was like the brush with death, because I remember when I was in the hospital, there was man with what I have and cancer, and then man with what I have and other and I was talking to this guy who had a brain tumor, and I think this is what it forces you in it when you hear certain men who are in a position that they cannot get out of, when they're saying to you like, yo, you better like do what you want in life and not, you know what I'm saying? Because when you're here, when you're in my position, it's over.
Yeah. And how old were you when that was going on?
I was about 25.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
think it's 25.
by this time you'd already been to college and everything.
Yeah, I'd already done all of that stuff.
Okay.
And I think I just was not serious about music on that level. I'd already wrote Drugs on Tap by then, and I already put it on YouTube. Okay. But I just wasn't serious, fam. I was just writing about my life. I was just like, yeah, I'll just write, yeah. All my mates are like, yo, that's sick, man. I'm just like, it's whatever. I'm still chuffing on weed. I don't know. I don't know. My days are going like that. I'm not seeing anything. I'm just like, yeah, man. I'm just doing a liquid thing. Yeah, like it's not serious for me. But when that happened, I was like, I was in bed writing the rest of the album, because I was like, this the doctor said to me, "Yo, it's levels," and I was like, "I need to do this thing now, and I need to stop messing about." So that like trumped everything. That trumped what my mom was telling me. That trumped everything.
Right. Talking about what your mom was telling you,
Yeah.
she kind of forced you to go into college.
Yeah, it was a college in Coventry because she just seen man messing about and not really doing nothing in it. And you know when you're a teenager, your days are like, yeah, I'm in college. It's like, nah, you're not in college. You're around this guy's house, and you go from that guy's house to this guy's house, and you go from that guy's house, and then all day you're there, and then you end up at home at 4 in the morning and sleep till 1 in the afternoon and do it again, and it's just constant like that. And my mum was just like, what are you doing with your life, innit? You can't do that. And she was just like, look, I found you a course.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she found it. She was like, are you going or are you not going? And I was like, oh, I'll go. I like music. But the fact is I had to get a bus to Coventry, so I couldn't chill with mates like that.
Oh, so you were stuck there all day.
It's clever, innit?
No,
like, that's what I said. It's
yeah.
clever. Like, yeah, you go Coventry, you have to get 2 buses. You ain't coming back till like later on. You're going to be knackered as well. And you can't chill with your mates.
Because there was also, obviously, there was Leicester College.
Yeah.
So why didn't she send you there? Obviously for that reason, innit?
It was that reason and the fact that it was the middle of the year because I mashed up the other, because I went on a college course, but I mashed that up. It was only when I finished uni that I was like, she did this on, the whole thing was to tear me away from that and steer me away from that. Because once you've been introduced to knowledge, and especially if you like something and you're passionate about it, you're gonna pursue it. You might not have the adultness to pursue it. You might not be old enough in your mind or wise enough, but she planted the seed. Okay. So then later on, it kind of saved me from going into some next thing.
What you're basically saying is that if your mom hadn't done what she'd done, you'd probably end up in jail, like selling drugs, doing whatever else. Is that what you're saying?
Probably, because it was weird because the area I was in was kind of it was predominantly white, but it was like you have in that you had different areas who just had the predominantly their culture in it, and then you had like a mix of those areas sometimes on that level, but it was weird. It was like even in the predominantly white areas there was enough crime, and there was enough crime. It was different from nowadays. Like most of the crimes just went underneath the radar. Now I think nowadays, because there's cameras everywhere, everyone sees everything. I think they're like it's different. But in them days, like when things used to happen, people used to get stabbed or anything like that. It would be under the radar, and it would. And I think you're surrounded by I think in Leicester, it's mostly the drugs. I think it's mostly the drugs. And I think it's like that with towns where there's not much going on. I think it's mostly the drugs.
There's a lot of people that get into the music, but then even with the music, they still get involved.
They still carry on,
but you didn't do that. So what I'm trying to get at is why you didn't go down that route.
I would say it's probably because of my dad, and that's the realest way I can put it. Because when you see your dad do certain things, and then when you see not even just your dad, but other people do certain things and where it ends them up. Like there was even situations with my brother and stuff like that, and you just see certain things, and as a kid, you're like, if you've seen man put their hand in the fire and their hand's coming out all burnt, and they're like, yo, this hurts, you know, and then you're putting your hand in the fire and you're just like, yeah, this hurts, and you're not gonna carry on doing it for years and years and years to wait to get to their level where you're gonna try something different. So that I was like, the only thing that I'm passionate about is music. So let me try and do this properly in it, rather than sending myself that way. And I think it's a mentality thing. It's a character thing. And I think it's probably what your parents instill in you and what you have around. Because the thing is, you can have good parents and then you still get involved in madness, innit? Or you can have bad parents and be the most straight-headed thing. So I just think it's a luck of the draw that the way that I see things, maybe my character, maybe that people instilled in me, maybe it might be a faith that I have, it's just steered me away from it and to continue. Because what will happen is when you steer away from it and the P's get low, a lot of men are like, yo, but I just made this move and it's a thing. So you know what I'm saying? But I think I was in a stage where even when the P's got low, I was like, I can't do that because I know what I'm like, and I know if I go back into doing stuff like that, it's gonna. I have to. You see how determined I am with music. I don't want that to be road, because if I'm determined, you see how I move with music. If I didn't have music,
you turn into Escobar.
Bro, I've always said that to people. If I was doing music, I would be Sosa. I would be if I was doing road, I'd be Sosa, fam. Yeah, if I was doing road, I'd be Sosa because you see how I break down music, mathematical, soulful level, bro. You don't want that on road, fam. Because I'll be like, yo, we need to make a different type of It's
so we should be blessed to have your presence in music.
Oh, definitely.
Okay,
it's good that music is there because it gives me something to focus on rather than there being no hope. And I think music gave me hope in it. I mean, I can do a 9 to 5 and I have done a 9 to 5 and I'm cool with that. But I think music has always been on the side to give me hope. So even when I'm in the 9 to 5, I've got that there in it. But I think if I didn't have that, like other man, I might. I don't know. Innit?
Okay. So I'm going to throw a couple of words at you.
Yeah.
And really quickly, I just want you to explain what they mean to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first 2 words are artist freedom.
Artist freedom to me is being able to be creatively free and literally make what comes to your head and make what your soul feels rather than what anyone else feels.
So do you think that's possible if you were to sign a deal, or do you need to stay independent to do that?
I think as soon as you involve other people, depending on the character of those people, you might be able to. But there's always going to be a level of, does that work?
So the next word that's going to lead up into that is popular.
Popular just means a lot of people know you. And I think that maybe a lot of people like you or a lot of people hate you. It's just, you know, maybe a lot of people have an opinion on you. And like, it doesn't mean that, popular doesn't mean that you have to be liked. It just means that a lot of people are talking about you. Yeah, it just means that, for me, popular music is just music that a lot of people talk about. And now, at least you can probably like put some sheen on it now, because now you got the money coming in, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think popular means crap, and I think a lot of people do. Like,
they got it all twisted.
Yeah, they got it twisted. It doesn't mean crap, man. It just means a lot of people talking about it.
2015. What did that mean to you?
Well, my mom had a situation with it. She had an illness, and that kind of just made me, again, makes you question where you're going in life. And I feel like these are signposts to, because I was ill as well, because after the first time I got ill, I started to go off course again and started to be like, this illness ain't nothing. I don't have to look after myself. And then bang, straight back in hospital. So I had that, and then my mom got ill. And then, you know, I lost other family members. I lost, you know, a grandma, and then I lost other family members. And it kind of, I feel like your ego makes you think you're Superman sometimes. And even if you have an illness or you have things going on around you, you feel like, I can deal with anything, innit? And then when you get slapped with situations like that, it brings you back again. So the first time it happened, I was like, yo, I've got to do music. And then I was like, nah. And then when all that happened, I was like, no, I have to have tunnel vision with this. I have to, because life is not promised, innit? Like, you can't expect to just wake up the next day, innit? You gotta be serious about your craft, innit? You see what I'm saying? I think a lot of the time people think they're gonna live forever, and I think that was a hard year, because I realized, again, you're not gonna live forever, and the people around you are not gonna live forever. So it's deep.
The reason I asked that question is basically because I noticed that you upped your level at that point. And it kind of summarizes a lot of artists. Like, you go through so much nonsense, so much hardships and whatever, that it eventually wakes you up.
Yeah, it does.
And,
it does.
You know, you have to end up realizing what you can do, what you can't do.
Yeah,
and, you know what I mean? So you obviously realized the potential and went for it.
Yeah, because I just thought, like, I can't just be if I'm gonna call myself an artist, then I have to be an artist. I can't just I don't want to just go around telling everyone I'm a rapper and I don't rap or I don't do this serious and I'm not serious about this craft, because then I feel like I'm doing a disservice to anyone who is a rapper, who is an artist. Like, I feel like then I was like, if for me it's about legacy, it's about what am I leaving behind on this planet. Like, I can't just, if I'm saying I'm gonna do it, then I've just got to do it, and I've got to do it for the people who might not have been able to do it, who might have died before, who might have wanted things and had dreams, maybe not rapping, but had other dreams, and they just, do you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm doing a disservice to them if I'm not on point. Like, I've got to be on point.
Yeah, of course. And that leads me on to my next thing, Drugs on Tap.
Yeah.
Right? So that was recorded, written, everything before all of the 2015 scenarios and everything.
Way before.
And then it was, what, 2018 when it really got picked up?
Yeah.
How did you feel when you got the email or the message or whatever saying, you know, because I've had messages like that and I've thought it's my friends pulling games.
Yeah, that's what I thought, fam. That's what I thought. I just thought, this is a joke, like, because on the bottom of the email, he even had like Drake's manager's name and stuff,
Okay,
and I was like, come on, man, let's not play games. And then I sent an email back very reluctantly, like, and then this other company emailed me, and then like I searched the company, and
it was real.
It was real. They've done bare films and everything. I was like, oh, this is real. And then I had to sit for a bit. Like, I was like, yo, this is not a joke. Yeah. And I was like, how? I'm just anyone. Like, I'm like, I love doing music and like I'm determined to do music, but like, I'm just anyone. There's bare rappers out there. There's bare people who I think are sicker than me, who are doing madness. Like, why not them? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Because your song connected.
And I'm glad it did. Because when I wrote that at that time, I was surrounded by that. So, you know what I'm saying? I was surrounded by that kind of, those visions
other
and
people,
that. Like,
not
yeah.
you.
Yeah. Not me, yeah. Okay. But I was, you know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of it, and a lot of people going through stuff that were like, that were involved in that song. So it's great that like they picked that up and they.
And it's done you the world of favors, obviously.
Yeah, it's done me the world of favors. It's gave me a career. Yeah. It's enabled me to like just do music and not have to work or do anything else. Okay. So I think it started it off.
Okay. Well, you know what? Obviously, Drugs on Tap.
Yeah.
You know, I look at the medicinal industry.
Yeah.
As one big con.
Con.
You know, how do you see it?
With the medicinal industry, it's like the music industry. There might be some people in it who are about the craft and who love actually doing what they're doing. But when money gets involved, everything is a farce. So why not the same with medicine? And the thing is, they need to keep you. Why would they want to cure you? Why would they want to stop like what you've got to? You know what I'm saying? They need to keep you ill. And I think a lot of companies are like that. They need to keep you ill, so they don't give you the cure. They give you something to medicate.
To keep them getting paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like for instance, like if I could just give you that bottle of water and that's it. Why would I do that? I want you to pay a subscription, because then you're paying me for the rest of your life. So I'll give you a little bit of water each time you need it, and you pay me that little bit, you know what I'm saying? Rather than just giving you the whole cure. I
felt when I was listening to your lyrics that that's kind of where it kind of almost stems
definitely. From. Because I could see the way that they were dealing with people that I know who had mental illness, people that I know who were very ill. And I could see the way that they were dealing with them, and the way that they were like, this is costing me this, and this. Or this, like, there's people in America have it worse, but we're going to see it over here soon, I think. And where you're just shelling out for something that there's been years they've been trying to find a cure, and they've been trying to find like medication to stop it. But you know, when it's a certain virus, they got a vaccine like that. Like it's just certain things are just and I
things don't add up.
Yeah, things don't add up. But I do recognize it's a business, and underneath that, Like there are people that are obviously doing it because they want to actually help people.
Yeah.
But then there's always that other side of the business where there's people that are like, well, how are we gonna make money? There's always that guy
Always,
there, like
always.
how are we gonna make money though?
Okay, so finish this line. Ran over.
Actually, no.
There you go. Got it. I was waiting for that one. Ran over. Actually, no. Okay, talking of actually, no.
Yeah.
Stereotypes.
yeah.
Right. How do you deal with stereotypes? How do you think it's affected you, what you do?
Stereotypes are annoying. You know why stereotypes are annoying? Because like if you're into, like they have road as a culture.
Yeah.
And it's when you say road, you're gonna think of something negative in it.
Yeah, obviously.
It's not like why I like wearing hoodies. I like wearing tracksuits. I talk a certain way, but that doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. That doesn't mean that I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've seen that with people. Maybe more nowadays, they're recognizing that there is a disparity. There is just people who are evil inside of that culture. There is people that are just cool inside of that culture. But I still think there's a way that people govern themselves nowadays because they're scared of being seen as good in that culture because it's almost cool to be bad, which is really, it's just a madness. And that stereotype affects me where people will be like, they'll instantly be like, oh, well, you must be bad, yeah? And it's like, even if my lyrics are like conscious and they're going that way, some people still have a disparity against it where they're just like, oh, well, they just think like, oh, like you must, like, you know what I'm saying? But when they don't realize that a lot of it is created and a lot of it is created and I call it people going on safari. When you watch a culture from the outside, like there's a lot of people that are never gonna probably get stabbed or never gonna probably have to walk with their eye over their shoulder or never gonna have to worry about anything like that. And they will gas that up. And that affects the way that people within that culture operate. So they're like, oh, so the money's here. Oh, so if I act more like this, I get more money. Okay, cool. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that's how it works, isn't it? When initially it's not like that. It's just the way that we are in working class. Like a lot of the art and a lot of the way that we do things comes from pain and it comes from that. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that it comes from that. And I think people gas it up who are not inside of that culture to make it more, you know what I'm saying? So people are acting like that.
Well, most of the people that I knew that were crooked all wore suits.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing.
So what? We're not allowed to get them. Like you're not allowed in the shopping center if you're wearing a suit. Anyway,
that's the thing. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Still, yeah.
Anyway, when I realized my career started taking off, it's because I stopped caring.
Yeah.
Have you had that experience?
Yeah. I mean, I was in a position where we went, like, me and my mate Stanza went on a tour with Ty. And at that point, I was very just thingy about music. I liked doing it and I enjoyed it, but I just wasn't at a point where it was a serious thing for me. I was determined still, but I just wasn't. Like, I did a thing with the Mobos and I kind of, after that, I hoped that there would be more of an opening for me, but I don't think that came. And then after that, I just kind of was just like, I like doing this, I'm determined to do this, but I'm not going to care as much to get to a certain level.
Yeah.
Because I just don't believe.
That gives you the artistic freedom when you do that.
Yeah.
So,
because you could just be who you are then, and it's not like a problem to be who you are. And you can, yeah.
Okay, so the question I'm going to ask next is something that not everyone's going to have experienced, but you would have.
Yeah.
And it's to do with, drugs on tap obviously did really well for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a fear inside that that's going to be it? That's going to be the biggest thing that's ever going to happen to you? Or do you think you can get past that? I mean, I know you deserve to get past that.
Yeah.
But, do you ever have that worry that I did that 10 years ago and it's picked up now? What else is going to happen?
I don't have that fear because I still think that's lucky. Like, I still think like it's a kind of a lottery thing. And that kind of, even though that connected, I feel like it was a 1 in a million kind of chance. It was like, so if that is the only thing, then so be it. But if there's more, I'm gonna keep doing my thing. So if there's more, then hopefully there will be more. I think there will be more. But I think if there isn't, then
I
not
believe,
many. Yeah,
I believe there will be.
Yeah, yeah.
You're too good for that not to happen. So I believe there will be.
If there ain't, then at least I had that. That's what.
But if there ain't, at least you've got Alexa you could talk to give you a hug.
Yeah. exactly. Gonna need that.
So
in
yeah,
10 years.
Alexa, give me a hug. So
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
Do you believe we're going into that kind of world where?
Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. I think we're going into a paradigm which is, it's gonna be a madness. I think we're gonna be so interconnected with technology. I mean, they say that there's a thing called a singularity that's meant to happen in 2030 where you get like AI that is actually conscious and it actually has its own mind. And then once that happens, you can't really switch it off. That's just another entity now. And I think once we integrate into that, we might not be as free as we would like to
I hear
think.
that. I hear
So,
that.
yeah.
And that's why you did your track AI.
Yeah, because it was kind of like, it's like drugs on tap. I feel like I'm warning people
You know,
years
I can
before.
I can see someone coming in at some point to take your AI track and do what they did with Drugs on Tap. I can see that happening.
Probably.
So look out for that.
Yeah. If they do, then you heard it here first, didn't it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but of course. But yo, listen, this is a seriously dope artist, lyricist, everything, producer. He does everything on his own. You lot need to go and check this out. But have you got, like, we need to wrap this up, obviously. Have you got anything you would like to promote? Anything you're doing? Any shows coming up? Albums, singles?
Well, we're gonna do a headline show. Reprogram's out now. Just come out. Go and check that on Spotify, Apple Music, all of them ones. And yeah, when the show's put up, come to the show, collect some CDs, get a T-shirt, you know. And next year, we're gonna hit you with another project. But this project is gonna be a stamp.
All right. Do you want to tell people where they can find you?
You can find me Lloyd Luther on everything. Sometimes it's Lloyd Luther 1. Like on Twitter, it's Lloyd Luther 1. Instagram, Lloyd Luther. Yeah, man, all the same.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say?
Have your own mind.
Final comment. One big final statement you want to make.
Wow. Know what the British system is like. Very research, and decide whether you want to be in it. Because sometimes this might not be the best country to be in at the moment. If it changes, cool. But the way it used to be, it's not like that. And I think people see that now. So
To find out more about Lloyd Luther, please follow him on all of his connection pages. All the relevant links can be found in the description below. Comment, like, share, and click on that bell to receive the notifications. Until next time, stay safe, and thanks for watching. Bro, thanks again.
Bless.
Thank you for coming through.
Bless.